Hey, what's going on YouTube? This your boy Marty4 here once again. I just recorded a previous um animated horror story, but I remembered I hate doing those things that are so short. So I remember the last time I did these, a lot of you wanted to do the Snapchat horror stories and also the Uber horror stories. So we're gonna do them both today. I'm just gonna go ahead and do them back to back. Let them be one long video, so y'all ain't gotta go to separate videos for it. Oh Lord, doing these two things back to back. Oh Jesus. Okay, let's pray. Get it going. Oh, by the way, if you want to follow my Snapchat, it's Jamar84 with an additional 4, so it's Jamar844. Just saying. Let's go.
It was 2015. My little sister and I, along with a few of her friends, were going camping in a forest in Maine. I couldn't tell you
Already. Camping in the forest? Nah. I don't do the nature like that. Only camping I'm doing, I'm one of them backyard campers where I can't be like out in the actual wilderness. Because like I said, from when we did like the hitchhiking horror stories, I talked about y'all who are unfamiliar with how rural areas be looking or places that are not in the city. When it gets dark, it's dark. Like you can barely see your hand in front of your face. So nah, we don't do that. We don't do that.
the name of it. She wanted me to go because I'm older and more experienced with camping.
Screw
But
that.
was it weird camping with a bunch of 14-year-old girls? Yes. I won't share my sister's name, but her friends were Casey, Barbara, and Lexi. My sister insisted I slept in a separate tent than her and her friends, and I was okay with that. So we brought 2 tents. Along with that, I packed the usual camping supplies: food, water, tools, and in my case, a rifle. I always take
Okay.
a gun with me while camping, just because I'm a paranoid guy. And I
Okay.
always want to feel protected while in the middle of the woods at night.
See, at least you got some sense. You losing points for being out there in the first place, but at least you got some sense to bring you a rifle with you. I'm proud. I'm proud. There may be hope for you yet.
After a pretty long day, I helped the girls set up their tents. And then I worked on mine alone as they were all sitting in theirs, gossiping or talking about whatever 14-year-old girls talk about. When I finished, I put the fire out. Being the older brother, I of course felt responsible for my sister and her friends. So I moved the tent really close to theirs, turned on my reading light, and continued where I left off in the book I was reading. The chattering of the girls in the next tent over was a bit distracting. At one point I heard them talking about a certain boy. Then the conversation switched to Snapchat. I heard Casey mention that she didn't have Lexi on Snapchat and asked for her username. I really didn't mean to eavesdrop, but they were speaking pretty loud. Lexi gave Casey her snap, and about 5 to 10 minutes later, Lexi mentioned in a confused voice that some random person added her on Snapchat. I raised my head from my book a bit as my interest in what was being said suddenly increased. The other girls told Lexi to add the person to see who it was. A few seconds later, they were going on about how the person's Snapchat score was so low, only like 7. I was really paying attention now. Apparently the person sent a message saying, "Hi, send me a pic." And then the 4 of them left. At this moment they were kind of whispering and giggling, so I couldn't really hear what was said. But after they all erupted in laughter, I could only guess they sent some kind of funny picture.
14-year-old girls, stupid, 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 stupid. They don't know, Lord, they don't know. And y'all ain't been taught about stranger danger? Do we still do stranger danger teachings to the kids? Especially online when they have access to you more so than they do before. Some creepy person says hi and you don't know them. Send me a pic. I don't even know who you are. Do I have a pic of you? No, ma'am. Come on, y'all. And they probably think this shit was funny.
After more silence, I got chills when I heard all of them scream. I grabbed my gun and ran outside to their tent. My sister screamed that there's someone outside of the tent.
Mm.
I shot the gun into the air 3 times as a warning, yelling into the woods at the same time. I then crawled into their tent where my sister hugged me. I of course asked what happened, pretending like I didn't already know half of it from listening to their conversation, and they explained everything. Lexi added the random person back, who then sent her the message mentioned earlier. As I suspected, she sent back an ugly group shot with her friends. The person then sent back a picture in response. It was a selfie picture of what they described as an old creepy dude, smiling at the camera, standing right in front of their tent. It gave me
Oh, see? See? Well, I mean, even if you blocked him, he still would have been like right outside your tent. But still, well, wait a minute now. Wait. Oh, never mind. 2 and 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. I was about to say, how did he get their names? How did he get their names to send them a message? But they was out there talking about it, and he. But then again, hold on, wait a minute again. Where are y'all at that y'all have signal to do Snapchat? Y'all ain't too far into the wilderness, because when you out there, you ain't got no signal. So I'm like, where y'all at? But then,
chills right down to the bone listening to their story. I was freaked out myself. They all wanted me to sleep in the tent with them that night, so I did. The next
sleep.
morning, we cut the trip short and went straight for the car.
Okay, I'm about to say sleep. Ain't no sleep. This creepy person just took a picture right outside, mere feet away from our location. We about to get up out of here and dip. Okay? Shit, talking about some sleep.
What could have been a great weekend memory with my sister turned into the biggest nightmare of both of our lives.
Okay. Man, please.
I just recently got into the whole Snapchat thing. My friends urged me to get it since everyone else my age has one. I got into the groove of it pretty quickly, and within a week my score was already 1,000. One day while shopping, I took a picture.
Really quick. For those of you who use Snapchat, I don't understand what the score means. Because, I mean, it goes up. I know you can get like rewards and stuff, but I don't understand what that reflects exactly. So, if anybody has the answers, just let me know. Because I was confused. I was confused.
Of a pair of shoes that I knew one of my friends really liked and sent it to her on Snapchat. She opened it after a few minutes but didn't reply back. I sent her a chat asking, "What do you think?" She opened this one much quicker but didn't reply. I put on a sad face and took a selfie, captioned the picture, "What's up? Why aren't you answering?" and sent it. She opened it immediately, this time replying in the chat, "Where are you?" I responded saying, "Home." Her Bitmoji was appearing in the chat, indicating she had the chat box opened. She replied saying, "Where is home?" I said, "What do you mean?" Then she said, "What is your address?" It was at that moment I knew something was up. I closed the chat box and drove over to my friend's house. Apparently she had lost her phone the previous day. She explained everything to me. I left after talking for a few minutes to go home. I pulled up to my house, and becoming a bit paranoid now, just looked around to make sure I wasn't followed or anything. Both of my parents were out of town, and my brother was out of state, so I was home alone for the night.
Of course.
That night when I was laying in bed checking my Insta and Snap before going to sleep, I remembered I could just check where my friend's Bitmoji was on the map to track the thief. So I opened up the Snap map. Her Bitmoji was right on top of mine, on top of my house. I dove to turn off my lamp and shut the blind.
And I haven't used that. Really, because I haven't used Snapchat yet. But that map thing. Ooh, wait a minute. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
The fear made me paranoid. I started to question whether I locked the front door or even the back door, but that didn't matter because when I heard sounds coming from downstairs, below my room, I knew someone was in the house. I tiptoed to my bedroom door to lock it, then called the police. The operator asked me to stay on the line with them until the police arrived. When they arrived, it turned out nobody was in the house. It was just my paranoia playing tricks on me. We found my friend's phone in the backyard, hidden under a bush, screen
In the backyard.
still on with the battery in the 60% range, meaning he couldn't have been gone for too long. The next day, I returned the phone to my friend, and my parents came home, so I didn't feel scared anymore. I will, however, keep my location private on Snapchat from now on, and I recommend you do the same.
Duh. Who put? Hold on. Let me check mine. Is that a thing that I've done that I don't know? Hold up now.
This
See.
happened a week ago. Up until a few days
Hold on, bitch. I need to know. Is this? How do I check this damn thing? Like, cause I don't know how to maneuver this thing. I don't think I have this thing on whatever the location bull. I'll figure this out later, but yeah, ain't nobody got time for that. Wait, what?
ago, I went to a small local gym in my now previous New Jersey town called Black Bear Fitness. One day, I had the misfortune of running into some skinny, awkward, yet creepy looking kid, probably 18 years old. He didn't look like he belonged in a gym at all. I had headphones in and I was doing my set when I heard him saying something to me, but it was muffled by the music. I was already annoyed with this kid, given that he was breaking an unwritten rule of the gym. Don't try to talk to somebody when they're doing their sets. I took my time finishing my set, and then took my headphones out to ask if he needed something. Then he started acting like I looked familiar, but right away I knew this kid was just trying some pathetic attempt at making friends. I assured him I didn't, but the kid wouldn't stop talking to me. I'll skip most of the conversation, but eventually he actually asked me for my Instagram and Snapchat, weirdly enough, and for whatever reason I gave them to him. Instead of just saying something like, "Buddy, I'm trying to work out," or "I don't have social media." After I gave him my Snapchat and Instagram, however, I did kind of urge him to let me resume my workout. He finally seemed to get the message and walked away. Not without saying bye like 3 times though. That night I got a snap on my phone saying "from Sean." I immediately sighed and said, "Oh no." Just wondering why the hell the kid would snap me. I opened the snap, and the kid was in a creepy, weird pose, face way too close to the camera, with his head resting in his hand and a half smile on his face. The text over the picture was "Hey" with 2 Y's. I muttered the words, "What the fuck?" For the record, I'm a guy, which made this even more weird.
I was just asking, like, is this a girl's perspective or a guy? They didn't specify.
My thought process was, I've had enough of this loser already. I'm gonna remove him and make it clear I don't want to talk if I see him at the gym again. And so I did. I removed him minutes after he sent that snap. I'm sure not even a minute later, again a message popped up on my phone saying "Snapchat from Sean." I waited a few minutes before opening it. This one was even creepier. Now the kid was sitting up on his bed, no smile, more of a surprised, angry expression. The text over the image said, "Why did you remove me?" Now I went as far as to block him, meaning he couldn't snap me anymore. And that was that. I threw my phone on the desk and sighed out of relief. Half an hour later, my phone goes off, saying "Sean added you as a friend," and then Snapchat from Sean. He actually made a new account.
See,
I opened the snap and felt my heart drop. It was a picture of my front lawn. The text over it, "Answer me, bitch."
all right, Sean. You want to do this? Because I'm pretty sure if he's a dude working out, repping, doing all this stuff, and you a little skinny man, I mean, we could do this the old-fashioned way. But then again, he might be crazy. He might have like C4 dynamite or some shit. That's fine. But now that you at my house, how did he get the? See, I really need to figure out how do I get these location thing? Because I don't have the time, the patience, or none of that to deal with the foolishness. Can somebody, maybe out in the comments, can let me know how to check if my Snapchat has the location feature or whatever? Because this, mm-mm, mm-mm, I'm not gonna deal with it. I'm gonna figure this out. For real. I really am. I'm about to search. Okay, Snapchat. Location while oh no, see location while using the app. We're gonna switch this to never. Okay, none of that. Okay, now I think I'm okay because no, we won't have. I won't have these problems.
The first thing I could think of was, how did he find my address? Then I realized, Snapchat made that new map feature that lets you see where your friends are. Somehow I had the balls to open the window to see outside. It was clear out there. I shut the window and the blinds and started considering calling 911.
Considering,
It was the sound of taps on the window. I took a deep breath, and with one swift motion, I pulled up the blind and the window at the same time and pulled the kid into my room by his neck. I punched him in the face a few times before he was out cold.
as you should, As I said, I'm probably swole, so I ain't really the one that you want to be messing with. So he got decked in the face as he should.
Now I called 911. By the time they arrived, he was awake, cursing me out, promising he'd be back and kill me. The cops heard it all. I didn't even have to make a case. The kid was an idiot. Luckily, the timing of this worked out well because I just moved a couple days ago out of state. Only thing that worries me, I don't want to have to make a new Snapchat account, but anytime somebody new adds me on the app, I'll never know if it's secretly that Sean kid again.
No, ma'am. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Whew. Okay. So I'm gonna be back with the Uber stories, chill. So hang tight, y'all. Hang tight. Okay. Oof. Here we are with the bullshit of these Uber horror stories, y'all. So let's see what brand of foolishness we're gonna get today. Lord have mercy. Watch this make me not trust Uber ever again.
In the year 2014, I frequently used the app Uber because I wasn't able to drive for 12 months due to some DUI charges. Just a stupid mistake overall. There's this nightclub bar in my town that I would sometimes go to on the weekends with my friends. Sometimes I would get a ride home with a designated driver if we had one, and sometimes we would catch an Uber. This night I wasn't feeling too great, so I left a little early. It was somewhere between 1 and 2 in the morning. It was way too cold to walk home, so I called for an Uber. A guy nearby named Alex popped up, and I gotta be honest, he was a little creepy looking. He was older, didn't really smile in his picture, and he had a grayish goatee with a black beanie cap on. He was only 2 miles away, so I didn't really care. It said he had a Chevy Malibu, which sounded nice, so I requested he come pick me up. I waited on the bench outside the club next to the bouncer, who stood still like a statue, hands folded together. About 5 minutes later, a silver 2003 or something Chevy Malibu pulled up in front of the club. I stood up, a bit disappointed it was such an old, ratty-looking car. The guy didn't call me over or honk or anything, he just waited by the curb, so I got up and entered the back seat of the car. Right away, things got uncomfortable. He didn't say hello, he didn't shake my hand, he didn't even...
Wait, do you see these eyes? Oh no. I'll be like, you know what? That's fine. I think I have the wrong car. Let me. I'm out. No, 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 no.
Even turned his head to look at me. All he said was in a very quiet voice, "Where are you headed?" To which I replied with my address. We began moving down Main Street, but in the wrong direction of my house. I told him this, and he turned left at the next intersection. Now we were moving away from the main roads and down the quieter residential areas. He didn't put my address into his phone, so I felt really strange. I didn't know if he was expecting me to direct him or not. I ended up putting my address into my own phone so he could listen. When the GPS said turn left down the next street, he completely missed it. I made a confused hand gesture. He noticed it and said, "I just gotta make a quick stop, don't worry, I'll give you a discount." Even though I was drunk, I still knew something bad was going on. Then, that's when I noticed the handgun sticking out from his middle glove box next to him. By now, I was trying to figure out how to get out of this car. At the next red light, I tried the door handle very quietly, but it wouldn't open. I saw that the child lock was on, and from this point forward, my heart was racing.
Shit.
The man was driving us far out of the direction of my house. We must have been 2 towns over by now. I was getting desperate. I couldn't call the cops because I didn't know what this guy might do. I figured my best option would be attempting to flick the child lock switch next to him by the front seats. I had to somehow slide over to the opposite side of the back seat behind him without him noticing. This was one of the most tense moments of my life. I locked my sight on his head through the rearview mirror, making sure he wasn't looking. I very casually slid behind him. Thankfully, he didn't notice. Now came the scariest part. I had to reach for the button up front at the next red light before he could do anything. Each light we passed, I felt more and more tension build up as I was waiting for one of them to turn yellow, and eventually one finally did. He slowed the car at an intersection that would usually be busy during daylight hours. It was a perfect escape point. The car came to a stop. I knew this light wasn't very long, so I had to be quick. A car was stopped at the opposite side of the intersection, which made me feel a little better. With all of my courage, I reached my hand up to the lit-up child lock button, and I must have startled him because he jumped 2 inches out from his seat. He screamed at me, and as I feared he would, he went for the gun right next to him. I was able to open the door and flee to the nearby Cadillac Escalade, where I banged on their windows asking for help. They drove off, completely avoiding me, but it didn't matter because the man in his Chevy Malibu was already gone down the block. I ran into a nearby grocery store that was open 24 hours, where I called a taxi this time. This was a very sobering experience because I don't remember being drunk at all in that store or during the taxi ride home.
Let me tell you something. When you are scared or when you have to get real sober real quick, no matter almost how much alcohol you drink, you will get together when you need to.
I reported the driver to Uber, who said they would escalate the situation to the authorities. It wasn't until a whole week later that an officer finally showed up at my front door for some questioning, and that was the end of that. I have no idea what became of that guy, but I've never used an Uber since.
Okay. Secretly, I might not either.
As a former Uber driver, I've dealt with a whole bunch of unpleasant characters, from the drunken groups of friends on Saturday nights, to the people who pretend to be handicapped to get free rides. But every so often, you may pick up somebody who can just be classified as a straight-up creep. I've picked up a few of these guys, but never one quite as bad as a guy named Tom. It was a Friday night in December, one of the coldest nights of the year. I had nothing to do, so I figured I'd do some late-night pickups. This was 2 years ago. I was 18 and had a new Honda Accord. My parents kind of spoiled me a bit. I was a very skinny 18-year-old though. That's why my dad told me to always keep a blade in my car because you never know what kind of nuts are getting into the car. A guy named Tom popped up a couple miles away by a major shopping area. I responded to his request and started driving in that direction. I pulled up in front of the shopping center where I saw a group of teenagers hanging out. It looked like trouble. I hoped this Tom guy wasn't part of this group. A bunch of them looked at me in my car as I slowly passed. Eventually, I just hit the gas and went further into the parking lot of the shopping center, wanting to get away from this group. I did 2 laps around the whole parking lot until I finally noticed through my left mirror somebody approaching my car from behind. I rolled down my window and called out Tom, and he called back yes. I told him to hop in. I had to repeat myself 3 times, and given that all I was saying was hop in very clearly, made the situation very weird from the start. The 4th time, he finally understood me and walked slowly around the back, getting into the seat right behind me. Usually the people I picked up would sit diagonally from me, which is what I preferred. When people sat right behind me, it just made me a little paranoid sometimes, especially when the person seemed kinda creepy. This guy was old, he had to be in his upper 40s. "Where to?" I asked him. He told me an address, which I entered into my phone. By his voice, I could tell he was a very heavy smoker. Come to think of it, my car was starting to smell like cigarettes too. The address he gave me was 10 miles away, which was fine, since it meant I'd be making more money. I tried making small talk initially, which didn't work out too well. Like if I would ask him a yes or no question, sometimes he would just mumble, and any other questions led to dry responses. I stopped talking when he completely ignored one of my questions. Now,
So let me tell me this, y'all. We all get into these Uber rides or these lifts, because I typically don't like to communicate with my Lyft driver too much. I guess it kind of makes especially if you're going to be in the ride for a long time, it kind of helps ease the tension. Otherwise, you're just kind of sitting there. But I mean, usually I just kind of like want to be on my phone, maybe on looking at stuff, and you just drive. I don't really too much care want to talk to you the whole time. I mean, we could make small talk, but after a while, just let me put in my earphones. Do what you do. You've already got the money. Just, just my preference. Let me know what y'all think.
I was within just 5 miles. There was still 5 to go. By the 6-mile mark, things started getting uneasy in there. I was afraid to look into the rearview mirror because I was so sure that he was staring at me. I took a quick half-second glance and saw I was right.
Oh!
He was in fact staring at me. My body forced my foot down heavier on the gas. I wanted this ride to be over sooner. By the 8-mile mark, I started to realize we were in the middle of nowhere. We were on basically a deserted street with woods on either side and occasional buildings.
No.
I was growing suspicious now as to where this address he told me actually was. So, while driving, I dragged my finger across my phone to slide the map in the direction of the address. It seemed to lead to a dead-end street with no surrounding streets nearby. I was getting more and more nervous with each passing minute now. I shot a glance back up again at the mirror, and he was still watching me. I finally summed up the courage to ask him if the address he gave me was of his house. There was silence for a few moments, and I thought he was once again going to ignore me, or possibly didn't hear me. But 5 seconds later, he finally answered yes. There was less than a mile left in the drive now, still surrounded by nothing but woods with the occasional empty-looking building. I was approaching the dead-end street that the address he gave me resided on, hoping some houses would come into sight. As the street came up, I slowed down so I could get a good look of it. But nothing could be seen, just pitch blackness. I could only imagine why he wanted to get me out here alone, so far away from anybody or anything. I casually kept driving, pretending like I missed it, hoping he wouldn't notice. But he did. Instantly, he hopped out of his seat and yelled at me to turn around. Honestly, I felt like my life was on the line, so I apologized and did a quick 3-point turn. As I was reapproaching the dead-end street, I dug my hands into the netting compartment on the side of my seat where I kept my blade.
Okay.
I very quietly flicked the blade open and held it tight in my right hand, ready to use it. I turned down the dead-end road, with my headlights now displaying just what I thought I would see. Nothing but trees on either side. I made it to the end of the road, not a single house or building on the road. I just knew something was about to go down. I was just trying to physically and mentally prepare myself for it. Suddenly, he said in as soft as a voice as he probably could, "Thanks for the ride." I wasn't even thinking about money at this point. He opened his door, but before stepping out, he said, "Could you get out of the car for a second? I need help carrying my bag."
No. No, no, absolutely the TF not. Absolutely. You know what? I'm like, you know what? Sure thing. I'll be sure to help you. Just close the door. I need to reach down into my thing and grab something to help you. I would have made up some BS. Just close the door. And as soon as you close that door, book it. Turn around. Even if I have to run you over, that's fine. But I'm about to stay up in here with you. No, I don't think so.
I have a bad back. But he didn't have a bag. I knew he didn't. He didn't come in with one. I replied, yeah, sure, let yourself out and I'll help you in a sec.
See, we was thinking the same thing. Like, yeah, sure, yep, absolutely.
The shakiness in my voice was too obvious. What happened next, I never imagined would have happened. All of a sudden, I felt pressure on my neck. It took me at least a second before I could realize he was choking me from the back seat. Immediately, I drilled the blade into his left arm and he screamed in pain, releasing his grip on my neck. He fell out of the car and onto the street, and I took that opportunity to turn the car around and practically floor it down the street until I returned to a busy road. I actually didn't end up calling the cops. I was just too scared to do anything but drive home. And by the time I got home, I just wanted to go to sleep and forget about it. Needless to say, I resigned from my Uber driving days after this incident.
See, I was gonna try to drive for like Lyft or Uber, but nah, son. Nah, son. Thanks for watching, I guess. But thank y'all for watching this. I gave y'all, a couple of. Woo! See, these things stress me out. I need to go pray. But thank y'all so much for watching. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I keep forgetting to remind you guys to put the little bell. If you're already subscribed, make sure you click the little bell so you get notified whenever I upload. Just because YouTube's been funny about letting people, know in their subscription feed. So shoot the little bell, support me. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.